I'm Jay. Welcome to my booth. I'm going to show you my auditioning process as a professional voiceover actor. I'm just going to do it and talk through what I'm doing as I do it. Hopefully it's helpful. Let's go. So I've got my audio software over here on the left of my screen, which is how I always do it, and I've got my script. This is just a sample script that I dredged up on the right side of my screen. I'm going to open a new file. I usually label it with my name so that if I'm putting it somewhere and they download it, they know who they're talking to. And the title of this is Rick's Tire. So we'll do that, and we're ready to rock. Now, I've never looked at this script before, never read it. So what I do to start off is I just give it a cold read to see what is going on and get a feel for it, what the vibe is in general. Sometimes you'll have that from a breakdown. It'll give you a little bit of context. I like to jump in cold because I might be surprised and I might nail it in one take. Let's go. I knew a guy who went to great lengths to keep from buying new tires and getting his car serviced. You should have heard the excuses. It takes too long. It's not convenient. He'd even spray his tires with Rogaine. You know, baldness. After the blowout and breakdown on I-44, he did what he should have done all along. He took his car to Rick's Tire and Automotive in Joplin. Rick's offers Monarch tires, make by Kelly, and automotive service that's quick, personalized, and convenient. Rick's Tire and Automotive, 1515 East 7th Street across from R&S Chevy in Joplin. So that felt pretty solid in terms of the take. I got the vibe pretty quickly. It's an easy script to read. It's a funny script to read, and I've got a handle on it. So I've got one take that I kind of like, and then I'll just lay down a second one. Now, things that I'm considering when doing a second one or that are important to consider when looking at a script after your cold read. One, I'll look at the timing here. So that whole read was about a little under 40 seconds. Some scripts will need to fit into a certain timing. So if I scroll up a little bit, this one here says 45 seconds. If a script says 45, 30, 15, 60, it's important to try to keep it within that just to get a feel for what the pacing should be and showcase essentially that you have that ability to hit the timing that you need to hit. Additionally, it's nice if, say, the script is meant to fit into 30 seconds, but you perform it like it's meant to fit into 60, it can totally shift the pace of your read. So if, for example, I read a really dramatic way and I'm like, this company, it has lots of things that it really does really well. And I move at that pace versus if it's supposed to be in 30 seconds, it might be this company, we do a lot of really great things. And so the timing can totally change how you read it. So back to Rick's Tire and Automotive. I've got one take I feel pretty good about. So now I'm just going to throw a marker down here at the end to denote that a new take is starting just for my ease of use. If that's helpful for you in whatever DAW you use, take it or leave it. Let's give it another try. I knew a guy who went to great lengths to keep from buying new tires and getting his car serviced. You should have heard the excuses. It takes too long. It's not convenient. He'd even spray his tires with Rogaine, for baldness. After the blowout and breakdown on I-44, he did what he should have done all along. He took his car to Rick's Tire and Automotive in Joplin. Rick's offers Monarch tires made by Kelly and automotive service that's quick, personalized, and convenient. Rick's Tire and Automotive, 1515 East 7th Street across from R&S Chevy in Joplin. Basically the same timing, a little bit faster. Cool. I'm getting comfortable with it. Other things that I'm focusing on here, let me get big real quick so you can see my face and stuff. In terms of the read, things that are important, we've got these bold things which are easy to note that you got to punch them up. And convenient is repeated. That means that it's a joke, a callback, important to note. Rick's Tire and Automotive, this is the first time that Rick's Tire and Automotive is said. A lot of ads work this way, where we've got the problem. Man, I knew this guy. He had all these issues. He was just trying to shortcut. And they're excuses we've all heard before. I don't need to do it. We put it off. But guess what? Rick's Tire and Automotive in Joplin is going to solve all of your problems. So problem is part A, solution is part B. And anytime the solution is said or the company name or product title is said for the first time, it's really, really important. So you want to give that a little bit of extra sparkle, as it were. In terms of the call to action, usually the end of an ad is called the tag or the call to action. Rick's Tire and Automotive, we're leaving the listener with this information so that they have it ringing in their mind after our beautiful performance. Rick's Tire and Automotive, just saying it again, giving it a little bit of sparkle, doesn't need to have a ton of mustard on it. And then the address is helpful to just make sure that it's really clear for whatever that's worth. Yeah, not a lot to say there. Okay, now back to the, the processing of this thing. So I've got 2 solid takes at this point. If I feel like it, or if I feel like there's room for it, I might do a second take. So I would choose one of these first 2, whichever I felt was best. And then I'll do if I feel like adding another take, I'll do one that's kind of like separate or complementary to the others. So I've done 2 that are kind of like, yeah, I've got swagger. I knew this guy who did this stuff. Let's see if I can do one that's opposite, almost. I knew a guy who went to great lengths to keep from buying new tires and getting his car serviced. You should have heard the excuses. It takes too long. It's not convenient. He'd even spray his tires with Rogaine. For baldness. After the blowout and the breakdown on I-44, he did what he should have done all along. He took his car to Rick's Tire and Automotive in Joplin. Now, Rick's offers Monarch tires, made by Kelly, and automotive service that's quick, personalized, and convenient. Rick's Tire and Automotive, 1515 East 7th Street across from R&S Chevy in Joplin. A longer read, a little different, but crucially, let's check this guy out over here. I'll pull this out because we're done reading that script. It is much quieter because I took a kind of laid back approach versus these ones, which were just higher energy and overall louder. So how do I process it from here? This is where I have presets in my DAW here that are very, very helpful. The first is a mouth declicker and a little bit of a gate plugged in, the gate or expander plugged in, the one that I use. So what that looks like is effectively this. So I've got this mouth declicker, removes the mouth sounds, and then I've got this gate. The gate is very gentle, and this plugin works like a gate expander kind of combo thing. So it's not a full-on shut off of sound, but it just helps to make my life a little bit easier in terms of editing. Both of these things are saved as a hotkey for me. So depending on the software you're using, you can either plug those in manually or use the hotkey function, whatever that may be. So for me, what I do is I will just use that globally over the whole audition to, again, mouth declick and expand or gate just the sounds. So that'll take care of little rustles in between stuff. So I'll apply that by hitting my hotkey. And now, because these first ones are of a similar or same loudness, but this last one is different, I'm going to have to process them differently. So the first thing that I do is I normalize to -3. That's a hotkey again for me, so I can just click on my keyboard 3. It will normalize. And then I add compression. So to compress this, it's going to, the compression that I have is, it looks like this. And I have the compressor set at 9, I think it's -8. -8 dB, a ratio of 3 to 1, and the attack and release are set like this. This is the preset that I use that's plugged into my hotkey. So I'll press that once. Whoops, wrong one. Press that. It'll tame it down, and then I'll normalize again to -3. So my levels look a little bit more so. Now, I'm to a point where I'll look at the waveform and know basically how it sounds with this mic setup and the way it's processed. So I might just repeat that process again. I've normalized to -3, then I'll compress at -8, normalize again. The difference in sound there is going to be pretty subtle. So this is the before. I knew a guy who went to great lengths to keep from buying new tires and getting his car serviced. You should have. So that's what it sounds like when it's only normalized and compressed once. This is what it sounds like twice. I knew a guy who went to great lengths to keep from buying new tires and getting his car serviced. You should have heard the excuses. It takes too long. It's not convenient. So it's a very, very subtle difference, but I just go based off of visuals at this point. I would encourage you to go by ear or sound until you're comfortable with the process and you know your own system more so. Now, for this second bit, it's going to have to be processed a little differently. So I'm going to normalize it to -3 the same way and look at what we're working with. This is pretty even overall in general, but I still will go through that compression and normalization one time again. And so then I go through like I just did there. I can see in my waveform, there's a little click. So I'm going to clean that up by silencing it. And I know from experience that at the beginning of each take, I'll have this like keyboard click going in there. So I've just gotten into the habit of going in and silencing those, as it were. Now, what I would do is choose 2 of these takes max or my favorite one. And I will go through and either listen to all of them or just choose the one that felt the best. And what I mean by felt the best is that I responded to. I felt synced with myself best, or I felt most in tune with the read. For this one, I'm going to say that take 2 and 3 are my winners. Then I'll save it to my Audition folder, click OK. And my Audition folder, I have a Dropbox folder that is just for auditions. Every week, I just save everything into that, and then I will progressively move it into month-by-month folders, just so that I have everything archived, and I can go back to it to draw for samples, either in my casting profiles on my website. If I book something and they want to use my audition as the final product, I can just send them this, provided it's of a high enough quality, and so on and so forth. So these are all my archives, and it's directly into a Dropbox folder so that I can offload when I need to the cloud, as it were. And that, my friends, is my audition process. Let me know if you have questions about any of that or if anything piques your interest for further clarification, and I'd be happy to do so as needed. Until the next one of these, be well, everybody. Happy auditioning, and I'll see you there. Toodles.